Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the NBA DFS Core Pick video for today, Tuesday, March 19th. If you're joining me for the very first time, this is the way today's video will be structured. We'll be going over the injuries in play for today. Not going to be doing a recap since unfortunately did not make a video yesterday. It was just kind of a crash day for me just in general, and a little bit of catch up on a few other things, mental health day, everything else like that. Sometimes that's needed, so I do apologize for that once again, but hopefully you guys had a little bit of success yesterday. It was a really weird slate overall too, even looking at it at the start of the day and then a bunch of people getting rolled out, a bunch of weird values popping up. So hopefully you all had some success with that. But after the injuries, we'll be going over to FanDuel and DraftKings and talking about my core plays on each site. So it's going to be one player at each position. So point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. But without further ado, we're going to get right into those injuries. It's not a very big slate today, only 5 games in total on both sites. We're going to start off with the Charlotte Hornets, who are without LaMelo Ball, Seth Curry, Cody Martin, Bryce McGowan, and Mark Williams. So pretty much what we've seen out of this Hornets team as of late, obviously since Trey Mann's been back. So not expecting too many changes here. A little bit of value to be had at a couple of these spots. Obviously, the most recent game, I think it was, we saw Brandon Miller get ejected after the flagrant 2 foul where he threw his elbow at, I think it was Tyrese Maxey kind of. So changed up the minutes in the rotation just a little bit because of that. And then on the opposite side for the Orlando Magic, they look all the way healthy at this point in time. We move over to the Houston Rockets, who are without Alfred Sengun and Cam Whitmore once again, so no changes there whatsoever. Would assume that we get a pretty similar starting lineup, especially since we've seen this starting lineup versus this Washington Wizards team a couple games ago as well. And then on the Wizards side, they are kind of the new team that doesn't have a lot of guys playing. So there is no Denny Advia, Marvin Bagley, Tyus Jones, Eugene Umurori, probably mispronouncing his name once again, and then Landry Shamet tonight. They're all going to be out. And then we have Kyle Kuzma listed as questionable with the shoulder injury. So could be a lot of value opening up on this Wizards team overall. We'll see whether or not Kuzma plays or not, because that's going to be a big piece on tonight's slate. If he doesn't play, then we're probably getting, I don't even know who's starting at that point, honestly, because we've seen so many different guys kind of come into minutes as of late. So there should be some pretty good value on this team overall. Then we move over to the New Orleans Pelicans. Dyson Daniels remains out, and then Herb Jones listed as probable, so he should be back for tonight's game. I do believe he missed their most recent game. Dealing with some back and hip issues right now at this point in time. And then on the opposite side, we got Dorian Finney-Smith listed as questionable. He's dealing with, I believe, an ankle injury, but was able to play their most recent game, so should be able to go tonight. If he's not, then we'll just get Cam Johnson probably starting in his place. Then we move down to the Dallas Mavericks. Josh Green's out for tonight's game, but he has been playing off the bench as of late. Could open up a couple extra minutes, maybe for guys like Dante Exum, Tim Hardaway Jr., stuff like that. And then we have Dante Exum listed as probable for tonight. And then Luka Doncic does have the green next to his name, but last I checked, he was still listed as questionable due to his hamstring injury, but did play in their most recent game, so not too worried about him overall. On the Spurs side, they appear to be all the way healthy at this point in time. Move over to the Denver Nuggets, who are without Kankar, who's been out all season with that torn ACL. And then Zeke Naji listed as questionable due to a back injury, not a major part of their rotation either way. And then on the Minnesota Timberwolves side, they are the lone team on the back-to-back today, so we'll just have to see what their injury report looks like as the day moves along. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on all the injuries in play for tonight's slate. Once again, it's only a 5-game main slate, so not too much to write home about here. There's a couple that we'll be watching throughout the day, so definitely be sure to check up as the day moves along, as I will have all the injury updates as well as the starting lineups down there throughout the night down in the comments section. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to DraftKings and talk about my core picks over there. So on the DraftKings side at the point guard position, I am going to go with Trey Jones here at $5,600. Looking for 28 out of him. He's averaged about 25 so far in the season. I will admit that it's not the greatest matchup in the world versus the Dallas Mavericks, but he's been playing more minutes once again, so up over 30 minutes a game at this point in time. Should be pretty favorable for him. He's outperformed this price tag for our last 5 games, so definitely do like him as kind of a safe play tonight. Has a little bit of upside, but not too much upside, not too much downside at the same time as well. Then at shooting guard, we're going to talk about a guy that has all the upside tonight. Also comes with a significant amount of downsides. Jordan Poole. He is point guard and shooting guard eligible, $6,600. Looking for 33 at him. Kind of some of these other guys out. He's been taking up a step in terms of shots and usage. Still not playing a ton of minutes, though, in their most recent game, but, was pretty efficient there. I think he scored like 31 real-life points, like 38 DraftKings points or something like that. So it looks pretty interesting tonight. You're looking for 33 at him. Currently, I'm projected for 34, 35, but definitely does have some strong high-end upside for more, but does come with some significant downside for less if he goes out and shoots the ball terribly once again. Or even if they get blown out in that case, too, as well, and they just run out some of those younger guys and try to get them minutes and everything else like that, too. But we're going to go down to small forward with his teammate Justin Champagnie, not to be confused with Julian Champagnie. I'm not sure if they're even related or not, but I would assume that they probably are. Haven't looked too far into that, but Justin's played pretty significant minutes for the Wizards the two most recent games that they've played. He started their most recent game too as well. It's not the greatest matchup in the world versus the Rockets tonight, but probably doesn't matter at $4,200 if he's going out there playing significant minutes. Only looking for 21 out of him in that case. Currently having projected for 27. So going to look like a better value play to start the day. Obviously, if Kyle Kuzma gets ruled out as well, opens up even more minutes and more potential value for this Wizards team overall. Then at power forward, we're going to go with Zion Williamson. He's probably not a guy that played too much this season. I think maybe one other time this year, and it didn't end up the greatest, but $8,700, looking for 43, 44 out of him at the minimum. He's averaging just under 40 on the season, going against Brooklyn tonight. Should be a decent matchup for him overall. He's played really well as of late. I believe he's outperformed this price tag like his last 4 or 5 games. So definitely like that recent trend for him overall. Playing decent-sized minutes, the usage has kind of been there as of late, too. It seems like CJ McCollum's kind of tapered off just a little bit, too, as well. So it seems like that's really benefited Zion Williamson as of late, and I do like him quite a bit once again tonight. Currently, I'm projected for about 45, 46. And then last but not least, we get down to the center position. Just went with the cheap option here in Derek Lively II. There are a lot of other guys that you can play tonight. Whether you're paying up for a Nikola Jokic, a Victor Wembanyama, paying down for, somebody kind of in that middle ground, or paying all the way down to somebody like Derek Lively, Jonathan Isaac, Larry Nance Jr., guys like that. But I like Derek Lively tonight. We'll see whether or not he starts or not. Him and Gafford kind of been splitting the minutes. But in this matchup for San Antonio, where you're getting a little bit more athletic versus Victor Wembanyama, maybe it's a little bit more helpful to have the more athletic center out there in Derek Lively as opposed to Daniel Gafford. Not saying that Gafford's not athletic, but Lively kind of has that advantage over him. So it could be a pretty favorable matchup. And at the end of the day, you're only looking for 20 DraftKings points at $4,000 out of Derek Lively. Has some pretty strong upside for more. Even if he's kind of splitting the minutes, only going out there playing 22, 24 minutes, he can outperform this price tag. But if he goes out there, plays 26, 28, then has some significant upside for more at the same time as well. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that do currently have listed here, you'll have $20,900, remaining just under $7,000 per player. So a decent amount of money are left over, whether you want to pay up for, a star player, a stud player, or if you kind of want to go with a little bit more balanced approach, the rest of the way, you can definitely do that as well. Keep an eye out as the day moves along, as we get those injury updates, starting lineups, because there could be some potential value that does open up throughout the day as well. So not completely locked into these 5 guys. Definitely could be some changes as the day moves along. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks over there as well. So we are going to start off at the point guard position with Trey Mann. He is $6,100 going against the Orlando Magic tonight, kind of a team that has struggled against the guard position at times this year. He's currently listed as point guard, so it's like the 18th ranked matchup they have on FanDuel in terms of that. I think shooting guards do a little bit better versus Orlando, which is kind of the spot that Trey Mann's been playing since he's been back. He's played decent-sized minutes. He's played pretty well overall, and if his shot's going down once again tonight, should easily outperform this price tag, where we're only looking for 30, 31 out of him. Currently having projected for about 32 tonight. Definitely does come with a little bit upside for more at the same time as well. And then we move down to shooting guard. I really didn't like anybody in this spot whatsoever. If you want to play, your Jordan Poole here, you can do it. I just went with Dylan Brooks personally, $4,800. Just kind of a cheap guy that's going to get minutes tonight. Might get a couple extra rebounds here and there, since the lineup that Houston's running out there is kind of like almost like 4 guards and 1 big man in Jabari Smith Jr. So it's a pretty interesting lineup just in general. Should be a little bit of a pace-up spot versus the Washington Wizards. If he goes out there, he's knocking down that 3 ball, getting a couple of defensive stats. Should pay off at this price tag of $4,800. And at the same time, there is some downside for less, but I do like him for about 25 tonight. Seems like a relatively safe play at this cheaper value. If one of these other cheaper guys end up starting that we don't really know, at least early on today, it's probably going to switch over to one of them. Obviously, a lot of that's probably going to depend on that Wizards side and Kyle Kuzma playing or not tonight. Then at small forward, we're going to Justin Champagnie once again. So on DraftKings, he's $4,200. On FanDuel, he's $5,200. So we're looking for at least 26 out of him over here. Still I'm projected for about 27 tonight. Should be in that starting lineup playing decent sized minutes. There is some downside because we haven't seen too much of him, at that NBA level to this point in time. But the last 2 games, he's played decent-sized minutes. Obviously, he's started their most recent game as well. And then if Kyle Kuzma is out tonight, should help him and the rest of this Wizards team out overall. And then we move down to power forward with Jabari Smith Jr., $6,800. Last couple times we played him, didn't go the greatest, which was one of these Wizards matchups as well. But, If it's Rashawn Holmes out there, if Kyle Kuzma's not playing, might be a little bit better, more attractive matchup for him just in general. If he can get to the rebounds, that's kind of the biggest thing for him overall, then he's going to have a big night. If he gets that rebounds and that shot's going down, going to look really good tonight. Looking for 34 out of him. Currently, I'm projected for 35. Has some upside for more, as we've seen in the most recent game. But in the couple games before that, when he was in the core plays, that's kind of the two that really let us down. So if you don't want to play him, definitely understand it. But I still like the upside that could be there tonight overall as well. Then at center, wasn't too crazy about anybody on the FanDuel side. So Derek Lively's not as cheap over here. I think he's like $5,400. So that's a significant difference from the $4,000 over on DraftKings. Ultimately ended up on Nick Richards, $5,800. Looking for about 29 out of him. I'd probably call it like a middle of the road matchup against Orlando tonight. Wendell Carter Jr., Goga potentially behind him too as well. Jonathan Isaac's decent defensively there too, who they're kind of made the de facto center, I guess, in the second unit at times. So I can't really talk too much about that. I haven't paid too close attention to those rotations with that second unit. But they have some defensive interior presence there. But if Nick Richards is going out, if he's scoring the ball, he's getting some putbacks. If he's getting those rebounds, that's kind of the biggest thing for him, and a couple blocks here and there. That could really put him over the edge tonight. Looking for 29 out of him. I think he's a guy that gets you 28, 29 tonight. It looks like a decent play there at that center position. Obviously, if you want to pay up to a Nikola Jokic, a Victor Wembanyama, you can definitely do that once again. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that do currently have listed here on the FanDuel side, you'll have $31,300 remaining. Just over $7,800 per player, so a good amount of money left over. Whether you want to pay up for that stud, whether that's Luka Doncic at your point guard position, whether you want to pay up at that center position to Nikola Jokic, who I will admit hasn't been the greatest as of late, the last 3 games, but the game before that, it was 90 FanDuel points. So you can definitely expect a high-end upside out of him. Doesn't always get there on a daily basis. Been a little bit less as of late. Could be a little bit of a tougher matchup if Rudy Gobert ultimately ends up playing tonight as well. So I think if I'm paying up for kind of one of those center options, I might go with Victor Wembanyama, and you can obviously slide him over to power forward as well. But with that being said, these are my core picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, March 19th. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. I do ask that you please note whether those questions are more FanDuel or DraftKings specific, just so I can best help you as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then, as always, I'll be posting all the injury updates down in the comments throughout the day as they do come out, as well as the starting lineups as they do get announced throughout the night. And then last but not least, my updated core will be posted down in the comments as a pinned comment about 15 to 20 minutes prior to lock. If there's any other additional changes after that point in time, I will leave them as a reply to that pinned comment as well. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we just got NBA DFS in terms of the core pick videos Monday through Friday. Typically, obviously, I did miss last Monday. There is a small chance that I might miss next Monday as well, just with a couple other things that I got going on. I'm not 100% sure on that at this point in time. I'll do my best to make sure that video comes out. But if it's not, I will try to leave a comment, either later on Sunday or early Monday morning, just so you guys are aware of that at that point in time. But the rest of the week should be fine after that. And then speaking of which, at the end of the month, I'll be doing my MLB DFS content for FanDuel and then my UFL DFS for the DraftKings side, which I assume they're going to have it once again this year. If they do not, then I'll post something there too and probably just do a UFL general video kind of going over some rosters and everything else like that, just so you guys get familiar with these teams, these players that are on these teams, obviously, since there was a lot of movement between the two leagues combining. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for Prize Picks, Parlay Play, and BetUS. If you are a brand new user on any one of those 3 sites, you sign up, you make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's a 100% match up to $100. For BetUS, it's a 125% match up to $2,500. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. And then with that being said, if you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comments or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS tonight.